Welcome back to Let's Clone. My name would be Stephen French, and this is a very quick little tutorial, mostly to see if this laptop can handle recording and coding at the same time, but it is a kind of a part 4 to Snake. As I mentioned in the previous videos, we could not save the score locally to the machine, so if you close the game and reopen it, it would always reset back to 0, and there's a pretty simple way to get past that. We can do that here. Okay, so to do this, we are only going to be editing, well, I guess we only have 3 objects, but we're only going to edit one event in the player and one event in the system objects. First up, let's go into the player. We're going to go into the step object. This method, or I guess this process, does work for any of your games. So if you have followed along with Snake, put it where I'm putting it. If not, just implement this code in your own project. But I'm going to go down to where we collide with self or wall, which is where we end our current game of Snake, and that is where I'm going to update this file that doesn't exist yet with the new top score. These are ini files or ini files. I don't know which one they're preferred, but that's all we got to do. So you can see here, I've already written out, I have to open the file, we have to write to the file, and we want to close the file. It's really that simple. Now, a lot of people I think this is how it was in GameMaker 1, if not just with different file systems, you would want to check to see if the file exists, and then you would create a new one. With this, the open ini file, if one isn't found, it will create a new one, so you don't need to bother with checking to see if it exists. You could type that in just for general practice with other languages, but we're going to take it the easy way here. So it is as simple as ini open, and we're going to choose our file name. So I'm just going to say save file.ini because it doesn't have to be special. Now, we're going to use the ini write real, and you could see from down here, or when I typed it, there are 3 different things. There's a section, a key, and a value. If you middle click, you'll get into the help window, and you can see here reading about ini files. Pretty much it creates a section, which would be like right here for prefs. It creates a key, which would be the variable name that we give it, and then the numeric value that is assigned to that key. So that's what we're going to utilize here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to name the section game. The key will be score, and you get to set a default value. So this is if the file or the section or the key does not exist, it will create a new one and it will set a default to 0. I actually did, I'm going to do -1 just to test it so you can see when it does run the first time, it'll give us a weird score. And then from there, all we want to do is ini, close, choose the same save file.ini, and bingo, bango, zingo, zango. That's all we got to do here. So that was just quick and easy how to write to the ini file. Now we need to read from that file. We're going to do so in our room start. And the main room is where we're actually playing Snake. I guess I could have put this in the start room so you could see the score at the bottom, but it doesn't quite matter. When we start our game, we're going to run this code one time. We're going to look in our ini file. We're going to grab that score, and we're going to set it to our top score variable. So we need to open it just like we did before. Oh, sorry. Ini open. Wow, this boy can't type. Save file.ini. Now we need to set our, was it top? Yep. Was it top score? Yes, top score. Ini read real, and it's the same thing with the section, the key, and the value. So section was game, key was score, and what we're setting it to, where am I? Default to 0. Same thing as before. So if the file doesn't exist, we're going to give it a default value of 0. Oh snap, I screwed up. All right, so this is where we want to set the default to 0. Let's go back and fix something in the player. My bad. So we're going to here, then just do our ini close save file.ini. All right. My apologies. This right here is the default. So we're going to open the file, we're going to set the top score, say this doesn't exist, we're going to default it to 0. What are you yelling at me about? Number of arguments. Well, that's a false. Expects 0. Oh. You don't have to write that there. I guess not. Yeah, you don't need to tell it when to close. Maybe only one can be open at a time. It's a short tutorial and I'm screwing it up already. Yeah, I did the same thing here. So we don't need to tell it what we need. But here we're trying to write, this would just write -1 to it every time, which would be ridiculous. So we're going to do top, this is our system object dot top score. So we're going to be writing this variable over into our save file. And then when we launch the game, or we enter the game room, I guess, then we're going to read that, well, I guess this, and then yes, from here it'll default to 0. So here we will do the -1, just so on launch you can see that it's something else. But that's legitimately it, just these 6 lines of code, and that gives us the ability to now play our game, close our game, relaunch it, and see that everything is working. Now this one will look a little bit different than the other one because I am on a different computer. Good. So oh man, our best is 5 because I had already tested this out, so we don't get to see the -1. But let's get past 5 so you can see it. 4. I should have tracked down the ini file and deleted it, but I did not. Good. So we're at 6. Best is following along with that. I have killed the game, and well, I got one more, so we're at 7. Enter back in, still at 7. Now, as I accidentally demonstrated, if I close that file, relaunch it, close that game. Here it's not red because we did it on the game main instead of the game enter, but right here our score is 7. It's pretty damn simple. I was happy to find it. Alright, that's all of it. Again, this is more just a test on my end to make sure that this laptop is capable of doing both at the same time. It is a 2011 MacBook. It's a bit of garbage, but it gets me by. And it seems to have worked. You might be able to hear the fans ramping up, but that'll be how it be. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. You now know how to save variables locally to your machine. This might work in HTML5, but I haven't checked it yet. That's all you need to know for now. Let's clone. Stephen French. Peace.